Now, as far as engine options go, the Nissan, you are stuck with just this one. It is a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, makes about 120 horsepower, and 0 to 60 is in the 9 seconds. So not exactly too performance or quick oriented. Over in the Hyundai, you have 3 engine options. You get a turbocharged 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated 2 liter, and then this one has, of course, the 2 liter turbo. So this one obviously has a lot more power. Even the 1.6 turbo on the Hyundai is going to be much more powerful than in the Nissan. Now, as far as the exterior styling with these two cars, obviously this Kona N is pretty sporty looking, but you can get a good look at the overall styling. Looks are very subjective, so this is what the Kona is going to look like for the most part. And then over on the Kicks, obviously a little bit more simple, but the overall shape is very similar to both of these vehicles. The front ends are drastically different, more traditional headlights and front end. And then this one has DRLs in the top portion of the bumper. Taking a look at the rear ends along with the side profiles, nice and compact design as you can see. I really like this blacked out area up top there, gives it a cool look. Then heading over to the Kona, pretty similar silhouette and then pretty similar in back as well. So each car, of course, has a lot of similarities to it. Obviously this one does look a lot nicer with the sporty aspects, but they both have some cool different features. Taking a look at the front seats now, this N version does have a really cool set of bucket seats. I would assume the basic car is a little bit more basic looking, but you have your nice steering wheel, you get a digital dashboard for the gauge cluster, along with the navigation screen right in the center. And then taking a look, we get physical climate controls, wireless phone charging, your shifter, along with cup holders. So pretty good looking interior overall, pretty basic door panel with everything that you're gonna wanna see. Then the door panel on this one is actually very similar looking. And then this one still does get a pretty cool set of seats. They're made of just fabric, but you get a cool design all around. We also get a gauge cluster with a digital screen on the left side, along with the normal one on the right side. Nice looking steering wheel, navigation screen, physical climate controls. So honestly, very, very similar layout. And I'm sure if they were base model to base model, they'd be very, very similar. So sitting now in the back of this Nissan Kicks, not too bad back here. Obviously these are pretty small cars. I'm 5'11". I have about an inch or so of headroom and still get some good knee room in front where the seat is. We do get 2 USB ports down below. Not really any more amenities than that. There is a little cup holder in these door panels and a pretty good view around with some grab handles up top. And then now in the back of the Hyundai Kona, feels pretty similar in size, maybe just a tad bit more headroom in here. The door panels do get a little bit more storage along with storage down below. We have 1 USB port down here and then knee room is about the same. We do get the addition of this center armrest, which is a really cool touch. And then pretty good sizing for the windows, a little more bulky back here, so a little bit less visibility. But I mean, overall for compact vehicles like they are, pretty similar. And then moving to the cargo area, in the back of this Nissan, the load floor is definitely much lower than this area. So I think that gives you a pretty good amount of space. You get some fender bulges. However, it's pretty decently squared off to actually be pretty roomy for such a small vehicle. And then from the back, you can pop these and get these seats out of the way, and they're gonna fold down all the way nice and flat. You are gonna have a lip back here for certain items, but nonetheless, that is definitely a pretty practical setup for the Nissan. And then moving to the back of the Kona, it's also worth noting both cars do have size for a full-size spare tire. Now this one actually looks to be a little bit smaller in back with the seats up. The floor is at the same level of this piece right here, so a little bit, not quite as deep. And then you don't really have those sunken in pockets on the left and right side, so a little bit smaller. You also have handles you can pull from the back here and easily get these seats out of the way, and they're gonna fold down nice and flat. So I'd say the Nissan is just a little bit more practical. However, they are both pretty similar in size. All right, so first setting off in the Kona, I will say the graphics on this backup camera are really good. Nice to see that.
Even on a bright day.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no shadows or anything.
Yeah, definitely a nice modern screen. We'll see what the Nissan looks like. I have not been in that car yet today. We're gonna leave this in eco mode. Obviously not too fair to compare power to power. Yeah. However, you get a lot more power in the Hyundai for sure. Getting up to some speed. I mean, it's pretty quick. It makes over 200 horsepower.
Even in eco mode doesn't seem like it's too different.
Yeah, you still get a lot of power. So I think Hyundai does definitely have the plus of giving you a lot of sport trim levels, sporty options to really make this not only an economical, tiny SUV type crossover, but make it a fun, sporty car at the same time.
Yeah, kind of the best of both worlds if you still want something that kind of gets up and moves.
Yeah.
A little peppy, has some exhaust pops to it, stuff like that.
As far as normal driving, we're in eco mode, so that's the softest suspension setting for this particular car. You can feel the bumps, you can hear some stuff. It's not like a crazy refined car or anything. Neither of these cars are going to be refined, but pretty solid. You feel the bumps. Not crazy noisy. We're going 45 miles per hour.
Do you think the interior trim will be the same?
Yeah.
If it's not an N
and
version?
if this is the nicest that it gets, there's a lot of plastic. I mean, everything's plastic in it.
All this is plastic. It has a cool pattern in it though. So it's not just like black, like cheap looking plastic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a carbon fiber-ish look design.
Yeah. Which the Nissan does have a little bit here and there. Yeah. But you guys will see that soon.
So pretty nice to drive overall. I mean, it's what you would expect. And I think definitely a big positive of it. The Hyundai gives you the fun factor stuff. But steering is nice and tight. The seats are comfortable. And a really good view around. Big windshield, good mirrors and everything. That C-pillar, D-pillar area is a little bulky. That window's kind of small. So that is one little downside. Not really crazy, anything like that.
I think what we'll notice too in the Nissan, this has an extra glass behind the back window. Yeah. I don't think that one had it, or it's a little bit different of an orientation.
I guess we'll see.
But that's going to be expected for almost like a hot hatch.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about what category these cars are. Are they or tiny SUVs, compact SUVs, hatchbacks? I don't know.
Compact crossover SUV.
The smallest SUVs on the market, but they're not even really SUVs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of our bearings with the Kona. Definitely a cool car. We'll have a lot of videos on this car. We have it for a whole week. Yeah. But to try to drive this as if it were just a basic trim level, a competitor to the Kicks there.
Let's keep in mind this interior so we can compare it to the Nissan. I don't know if you can get a smaller screen in this.
Probably.
But the larger screen is definitely a plus.
Yeah.
And
so as far as this goes for the basics of it, I guess that's kind of our first impression. Let's hop into the Kicks. So then flipping over into the Nissan Kicks, the backup camera not quite as HD for the graphics. And then both cars, you can get around $24,000. This particular spec is 24 grand, and a more basic Kona, same price. So they are direct competitors.
Yeah, it's crazy to see though, for that money, getting a brand new car like this, that's pretty practical and economical at the same time.
Good gas mileage.
The fuel tank in this is 10 gallons.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're barely gonna fill up. I don't know what it is in the Hyundai, but it's probably similar. You're barely gonna fill these up.
Yeah. So with this one, obviously it doesn't have a lot of power. It is slow. What'd you say, 0 to 60 is 9?
Like 9.7 seconds. So I mean,
believe that.
You're not buying this, obviously. Either one, well, the N a little bit more, but you're not buying this to be a sport-oriented vehicle. So if that's not important to you,
I will say,
just having the space.
Yeah, I think that is still a downside, just because getting onto the highway in a reasonable speed is important.
Yeah. This
is gonna be pedal to the floor, and you're gonna hope that you make it. So. A little underpowered, not gonna lie. I think Nissan should offer a turbo engine. They could even make it a 3-cylinder engine with a turbo, give it a little bit more power.
In my review, I talked about this being more of a city car. Yeah. So if you don't have to get out on the highway, you're not doing a lot of highway driving, you're just kind of in slower roads like this. Yeah. It's a smaller car to be able to parallel park and things like that.
So this would be for that. A little bit
different.
The Kona, basic Kona, you could do that same thing, but the Kona does give you the option to get more power, and then one that is actually really performance oriented.
Right.
But as far as normal things, the interior, all plastic, kind of like the Kona.
But see, doesn't have that same material, so it's a little bit more plastic feeling.
Yeah, this is kind of cool on the dash.
Trim piece,
It does feel a little bit cheaper in here. I don't know if the basic Kona will have a more basic screen, but this is cool how we do get half of an LCD screen up there.
Yeah.
Very similar space in here. I like where the phone can go. Cup holders are deep. So you get a pretty good amount of space and everything. It's certainly very similar.
They both even have the full radar cruise, which is a nice technology feature to at least offer in a car like this.
Yeah, modern stuff in a car like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have that extra window.
Yeah.
Visibility is about the same because this side window cuts out a lot. So the window is bigger, but it doesn't have the extra window.
Right.
So I'd say visibility is about the same.
But I mean, you get used to it. It's just the design of the vehicle.
Yeah. And then getting back up to some speed, let's feel out some road noise. Yeah, this is incredibly slow. I pedal to the floor and we're not even at 45. There we are, 45.
Yeah, I mean, that's the design of it. That's what it's for, but
it needs to be more than that.
Yeah.
That is a downfall for sure.
Yeah.
Ride quality though, 45. I'd say it's similar.
About the same.
You feel the bumps just like in the Kona. Again, they're not refined cars, they're not expensive cars, so there's a lot of cost cutting to make these affordable. it's a nice basic car, really. So the ride qualities, I'd say about the same. Visibility in the mirrors, the windshield, everything about the same.
We do have less of a dome light compared to the other one. The Hyundai had a sunglass holder and a little bit better lighting. I wouldn't say that's the best lighting, but it's still there. Yeah. Interesting to see that. A lot of modern cars do have updated interior lighting, but again, maybe for the price. Yeah. More on the cost-cutting side.
So I think finishing test driving this, it does feel a little bit cheaper, and again, it's hard to compare because that's fully loaded. Yeah. But I feel like some of the basics that are going to be in both cars, this does feel like it's an entry-level version of the Kona. The biggest downfall to me is the engine. Just if you are going to be on the highway, you know, make sure you got a lot of room to merge in the lane. It's nice that Hyundai offers 3 different options, and the turbo is really going to help you out a lot. But normal ride quality and stuff like that, not too bad for what it is. And the use of space and everything is pretty decent. Yeah. These seats are pretty stiff. They're not nearly as comfortable.
Yeah, I can feel that a little bit.
So it really does feel kind of like a budget version of the Kona.
All right, so coming back from our test drive in the Nissan Kicks, overall thoughts, I think Hyundai takes the win for sure. You know, you do get a little bit more space in the back of that Nissan. There's a little bit more room. So it's a little bit more functional if you're actually buying this to really put stuff and even put people in it. However, the fact that Hyundai gives you 3 different engine options, even a basic one is gonna have a little turbo on it, and that really does, to me especially, it sells the car a lot, just because I like to be able to get up to some speed. Not to say these are really fast cars, but 9-something seconds 0 to 60, not gonna work for getting on the highway where we live at least. So I think Nissan really needs to step it up and give this a little turbocharger under the hood, just to give you another 40-50 horsepower to get you up to some speed. And I think the styling, the Hyundai's a little quirky, a little funky, might not be for everybody. The Nissan's a little bit more conservative, a little bit more tamed down to be kind of more normal. But I think at the end of the day, since you can get these for the same exact price, I think the Hyundai gives you quite a lot, just a slightly better car overall, and the engine options is a huge seller for me. But overall, I think both are pretty good options. Of course, if you get one of these in a little bit top trim level, it's gonna have some nice extra features and feel a little bit nicer while you're still stuck with the basic engine. I think that's about it then. Comparing the Kona to the Kicks, cool little fun, tiny size crossover SUVs, whatever you wanna call them. Pretty cool little cars to check out. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Check out both of the reviews of these cars linked down in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next video.